All right, welcome back, the True Strength podcast. Here we are. We're this is our sixth episode, and we've been just really sorting out the technical parts of it, and it sounds like we are good to go. Tanner might have just put on a fan, but it's all good.
I
R- really exciting over here. Taylor Rank, happy birthday, Coach Taylor.
Thank you, sir.
Happy
Thank you,
birthday,
sir.
man.
Yeah,
Even
man.
though for myself, Scott and Tanner, it is the 14th. For you, it is the 15th. So it's morning in New Zealand. So happy birthday,
That
man.
always trips me out.
also, dude,
Appreciate
Taylor, you're really it's not your real birthday yet. Then, I mean, by date technically, but by hour, you're it's not your birthday yet.
Very
and
good point,
I
Tanner.
was also born super late in the evening, so my birthday is actually like July 15th, like 10:55 at night or something like that.
Yeah, so it's like still got tomorrow, dude. So basically, because you're like way ahead of everybody.
So
Yeah,
in
so
New Zealand,
gotta-
your birthday is technically on the 16th.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, for sure.
Man.
Well, happy early birthday then.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me just ask you guys really quick. I mean, fitness guys, on your birthday, is it a day just to, do you all follow the adage calories don't count on your birthday?
No, I always think that calories hold their significance because they do. But for my birthday, I do like to do something challenging or something, that is rewarding. Not, I don't like it as a chance to destroy my body and get all like, inebriated. Otherwise, I want to do something that's going to make me better or make those around me better. So that's how we're going to celebrate my birthday today.
I love it. And you're going skiing today, right?
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Which is also
Very
mind
good.
blowing that you're skiing in the middle of July, but we'll just glance over that.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
good.
Well, look, let's get into fitness right away. I sent you guys this question, but, and I think it's worth just touching on because you three gentlemen have kids. And so the question was, how do you balance fitness with other obligations in life? Who wants to? Scott, why don't you start? You got two boys that are running around all the time.
They're running around, man. So we talked about this last week, but coming up with a plan and having a plan of action with my wife. Well, first off, I want to thank my wife and give her all the credit in the world because I couldn't do this. I couldn't do anything without her. She really holds it down. But you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. If you go in, what Tanner always says, if you fail to plan, then plan on failing or whatever it is. But man, we structure everything out now, and I've never been a guy that plans. I used to just kind of mosey in the gym, get my workout in, whatever. Man, everything is structured down to the minute now. So what I'll tell you is have a plan that will get you to where you want to go. And man, everything needs to be planned out. Meals, what time you're waking up, what time you're taking them to school, your workouts, obviously, and then especially your bedtime. Do not skip over that. Have a bedtime for yourself and get to bed.
Okay. I think that's all great advice.
Well said.
Taylor,
Yeah.
you've also got two youngins. What's your advice?
Kind of on the same lines as Scott. I'm probably not as tactical, but almost every night it ends with a discussion with my wife. I say, "Hey, what's the plan for tomorrow?" Just so we have like a strategy of how things are going to happen. Like we've got our bedtime routine and stuff like that. But during school and stuff, it's pretty easy. When you're in the week grind, you wake up, you have your breakfast, you get your kids to the bus stop or to school, and then you come back and you do your work and all that. It's like currently right now during school holidays where stuff kind of gets thrown haywire, right? Because some daycares are closed, like they're home for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and obviously when they're home, you're trying to do things as a family and things like that. So it's definitely it takes more time and attention when they're at home on the holidays. But like I said, you strategize, come up with a plan so you can have options at your disposal and you're not surprised by anything. Wake up knowing that you're going to have things that need to go down and get them done.
Yeah, and let me,
Yeah.
man, that's true, Taylor. And let me just say, I don't have everything down to a T. I'd like to. I mean, shit.
It's impossible.
But yeah,
to.
when these kids are are home from school, man, you really have to figure it out. The best way to do it is just plan ahead with your spouse.
I remember as a kid being
Yep.
so sad when holidays were over, and now like as a parent, I'm like, dude, I'm ready. I'm ready to get these kids back.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. It's hilarious, right? Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, and
Um,
Tanner,
yeah. So
2 weeks into your fatherhood.
yeah. So what I did is I told my daughter, who's 14 days old, I just told her that I work out from 5:30 to 6:30 a.m. Okay, so she's not allowed to cry or shit her pants between those hours. So I told her that. I told her that on day one, and so far she hasn't listened. So what I've been doing is basically just like begging my wife, and she's been holding it down. My wife's a total trooper, and we've tried to adhere to a schedule, but there is no schedule for a newborn whatsoever. I'm hoping when she gets a little bit older and she actually gets on like a daytime, nighttime schedule, that things will be a little bit better. But basically, it's just been my
Did we
baby
just lose Tanner for a second
eats,
there?
shits,
Oh,
sleeps,
sad
It
times
is
are
rough.
repeats, and then when
Yeah,
it's
those
crying,
early years are
you
so
just try to
rough.
figure out. You have to cuddle it, feed it, change it, swaddle it, cuddle it. Like whatever you have to do. And so I haven't really. There has been no schedule whatsoever. That being said, I have not really missed a workout yet, but my last 2 weeks of training have been, I would say, mediocre at best, just because my sleep's been quite erratic. But what I do is I tell myself, all right, I knew it was going to be like this, and it is. So I'm just like sucking it up and dealing with it, So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And I'm a new parent, so I'm still figuring things out. But one motto that I kind of live my life by is like, you will always make time for what's important to you. So I'll just figure out a way to get it in. And I'm just really lucky that my wife, she just holds everything down and watches the baby most of the time. And my in-laws are here helping us too, so that's been really, really helpful. So huge shout out to my wife and her parents for helping us these past 2 weeks having, with a newborn baby.
Now, I want to ask Scott and Taylor, because you guys sort of mentioned having a plan and everything, but so how do you deal with curveballs? Because they obviously happen where, hey, things are set and then one kid's sick, one kid throws up. How do you deal with it?
Man, you just well, first off, I try, and it's not always perfect, right? But I try to be as present as I can. So just roll with the punches. Don't get mad. Don't think about, oh, you're messing up my workout, whatever it is, because they're getting older so quickly, and it goes by so fast. So I want to be present for every moment. With that said, all right, if something happens, I get thrown a curveball. I love the approach of accumulating the workouts within a week, for example. So, all right, this day got screwed up, whatever it is, a flat tire, this workout's not going to happen today. Hey, I'll just push it till tomorrow. As long as I get my 4 workouts in the week, that's all that matters. That's how I approach it.
Yep. Taylor, what about you?
I used to be super task oriented. Oh wow, that's kind of an echo. Sorry about that. Yeah, I used to be super task oriented, but as I got into parenthood, I can't be so task oriented. Is that audio as bad as it sounds for
Yeah,
me?
I'm hearing that.
All right.
Echoes
I don't
coming
hear
from
it.
Tanner.
Is that better?
Yeah, Tanner, just try turning down your speakers a little bit. Okay,
Can you
go
hear
on,
me?
Taylor.
All right. No, like I used to be really task oriented when I would have something that I set out to be done, and I'd get really frustrated or flustered if I didn't get it done. And that's obviously become less and less as I've gotten older. especially with parents. I can roll with the punches a little bit more. But for me, it's kind of like the removal of choice has a lot of power. And what I mean by that is like when it comes to like diet and nutrition and stuff, like simply not having something around eliminates the potential for it being used. And I kind of look at it the same way with my kids, right? Well, my kids are always going to be my priority, man. So when things happen or curveballs are thrown, they're always going to be the emphasis, man. It's kind of just like you adapt to it because you have to, because you don't have a choice. They're yours and they're your responsibility. So everybody around me, the people I work with and that stuff, they always know that my kids are going to be a priority. So when I do get curveballs thrown, you might have to tolerate my kids being around or, being a bit of an inconvenience, but that's just kind of what it is for the most part. And I think other parents can kind of empathize with that for the most part. But you deal with it because you got to, because there's not a choice.
Yeah, no doubt. It's pretty wild. Like as soon as you have kids, and it probably hasn't even hit Tanner yet, but the fact that you're always on call. You're solely responsible for keeping these people alive.
Right.
It's pretty wild.
Wild.
Always on. Like I saw, like I think I saw like somebody talk about it. It's like you can't have like that evening where you decide to go out and get hammered, right? Because you might have to go get your kid, right? Or you might have to respond to something serious. You can't be shit-faced and hammered, which is another reason you should never drink alcohol. But yeah, always on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's some great advice, guys, and some great insight. The second question I wanted to ask and just discuss is, you guys, we've all been working out for well over 20 years. Who is the biggest, animal you've ever trained with? Someone you saw in the gym, trained with, you just went, holy shit, they're on a different level. They're just a different type of human being. Anyone have a good example to start with?
Tanner Shuck.
Tanner, go ahead.
I mean, I would be curious to hear Scott's answer, just because he played in the NFL and he was around like some real freaks. Okay, but from my perspective, I played D1 football at Rice University and I was around those guys. And I'm not trying to pump you up, Scott. I swear to God, I'm just answering the question honestly and objectively. Scott was the biggest freak that I've ever trained with. Like just the most naturally, brutally strong guy I've ever worked out with. Okay.
Thanks,
Like, yeah, I mean, dude, I would be saying that whether you were in this conversation or not. Like I've answered that question quite a few times, actually. I mean, you're not going to see hardly any guy, bench press, 500 pounds, okay? Or power clean 421 pounds. Not naturally. Like, so Scott was just freaking, I'd call him like horse cock strong, just like stupid strong.
That means a lot, man. Coming from you means a lot. Thank you.
Well, it's true. It's so true. Another guy that kind of comes to my mind that was really strong. Scott, you remember Brian Rains?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was a
For
couple
his
years older
size,
than me
he
and
was
Scott.
just stacked, man.
Yeah. And like, dude, he could like basically, I think he squatted like 600 pounds raw, like below parallel, just with a weight belt, no knee sleeves, no lifting shoes, just a guy that was just insanely strong. And he was a really hardworking guy on our team as well. But those are the two guys that immediately come to mind, like biggest freaks. Okay. And then,
Yeah,
I mean, my
Brian's
training
in,
experience is kind of limited. Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
Brian's in finance now, but what about what about training outside of Rice? I'm curious.
Yeah. So I was kind of get to that.
Me, obviously.
Yes. So, and I unfortunately I didn't have the opportunity to train with Taylor nearly enough. I wish we would have had more opportunities to work out, but dude, I'll pump you up too, John. And I'm answering being objective. Like, when me and John met, we were like both heavily into CrossFit, and then John transitioned into competitive weightlifting, and dude, he got fucking strong as shit, within a year and a half, 2 years of just solely focused on weightlifting. And I mean, not many guys are going to deadlift over 600 pounds, squat 500 pounds for three, behind the neck jerk, well over
180
400.
something, 180 something.
I think
Yeah.
200.
Dude, John, what was
180,
your best
200.
clean and jerk? Didn't you clean and jerk 180?
402.
Yeah. It's like,
Holy
dude,
shit.
that's
That's
crazy.
impressive. Over his head, dude. That's
He,
impressive.
yeah, he snatched 315, right? 140, 145?
145, yeah, 320.
How
Yeah.
much did you weigh at that time?
I was 93, 94 kilos, so that's what, 207, 208?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's certainly like horse cock strong. And then the rest of the people that I trained with in my training career, honestly, were just like fucking pussies, in my opinion. I'm just being real
I
though.
hope
Like I was like,
Justin
man,
Aarons is listening.
oh, not Justin. Justin. So yeah, hope Justin was super good at bench press, super fit. I forgot about Justin. Like doesn't look strong, but was deceptively strong. Upper body wise. I would definitely put Justin in there. Thank you for reminding me about him. But
I'll just
trying to
remind
think
you
of-
of one other guy, Tanner. You definitely looked up to was our Finnish friend Mikko.
Miko.
yeah, I did think about Miko.
He
And I
wasn't
think-
he wasn't a technique guy, but he just like mentally he
Yeah.
went hard.
Yeah, he was definitely strong, but he wasn't like freak strong. Like I saw the things that he did, and I was like, all right, I could probably do that or come close to that. Dude, there's no way I'm clean and jerking 400 pounds. There's no way I'm power cleaning 421 pounds. Like those are numbers that I will just never achieve. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are my answers. And I was a long answer. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Taylor, how about yourself?
I was around. I've trained with a lot of freak athletes, but I think it's hard to argue that Division I football players are probably some of the biggest, most powerful athletes in the world, right? So off the top of my mind, man, the guy that I remember the most, like the most physically imposing and impressive dude, was a guy named Jasper Brinkley, who played middle linebacker for us. He was about 6'2", 275 pounds, man, and ran a 4.5. He squatted over 600 pounds. So he's just this massive, crazy dude. And I just remember being in awe whenever he was in the weight room. Like just the speed he would come out of squats with and the weight that he'd be moving was just kind of, worthy of awe-striking people. But other than that, the guys I've been around was at Oregon State was a guy named Stephen Paya, who ended up at the time he broke the NFL Combine bench record. I think he did like 52 reps or something like that with 225 or something. He was just a Pacific Islander dude who was just crazy strong.
Bro, he was big. I went to the combine with that guy, and dude, he was strong. He
Yeah.
was so big, massive.
Yeah,
So
he
you
was
trained?
Yeah,
You trained with him, or you coached with him? Yeah.
I was a strength coach. That was my first. So when I graduated, I got straight into strength coach, and I went to Oregon State University to be a graduate assistant. And yeah, I met him when I was there. And that program develops athletes at the time arguably better than anybody did, if judging from their recruiting ranking to their draft stock. But yeah, he would go in there after like a full upper body day and have 225 on there and just blast out a set of 40. Just to make sure he was getting his volume up, and you're just like, okay, that's on a different level. But yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Taylor, you were out of school before Clowney came in, right? That was well after.
I was there. I was a senior when he had just signed, so he came in right
Okay.
after I had left. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Scott, how
What about
about
you,
yourself? I mean, there must be some freaks.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing though is in the NFL, these guys they're not putting the strength on display during the season.
Yeah.
So they're doing it in the off season, and in the off season I trained with some really strong guys too. But honestly, like the guys are stronger in college. They're stronger in college. The NFL is about staying healthy, and also like I trained with some really strong guys, but when I was a rookie, I was like constantly comparing myself with other rookies. I got drafted by the Titans. At the time, our rookie class, there was this guy, Mike Martin from Michigan. Dude, he was 300 pounds, over 300 pounds with a six pack. Natural. I swear. I've never seen anything like it. This dude was so strong. Like, I've never been around anybody stronger than me, you know, like that's like relative, right? And this guy was significantly stronger than me. Another guy, and these guys like are not that well known. Colin Mooney, he went to Army. He got enlisted. I think he got enlisted, came back, made the team my rookie year. Shorter guy, but he was a fullback. Really strong guy. Really just stacked, like short arms and levers, but still. Those two guys, man. Like that's really. And dude, Tanner, of course, man. I've never been around somebody so damn consistent as Tanner. You know, like fucking putting in the hard work, man. So definitely a monster right here too, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Tanner,
being consistent doesn't make you an animal. Like,
Dude,
you know,
no,
that's
but
just
you know
like,
what I mean? No, you're strong.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, you're strong too, though. But like the way that you approach the weight room, I've never been around anybody that approaches it the way that you do, with that level of discipline and intensity every single session.
that and Tanner does have Tanner can probably go darker than more people than I've like he can go dark into a dark place in a workout and just go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's a good way to say it. That's a good way to say it.
I always used to think he was punishing himself for something, right? Because he'd just be over there hurting, dude. I'd be like, bro, he's mad at himself or something.
Dude, he's never done anything wrong, though. You know, like,
dude, I'll tell you what it was. Like, the reason I transitioned into CrossFit is because like I knew I would be good at it. From the moment I saw it, I was like, fuck, dude, I can work out.
Yeah.
And I can make myself really tired, you know? And I was just like, fuck it. It doesn't bother me that much. I'll just make myself super tired and uncomfortable. And if I can get a job doing that and make a little money, that was fucking good for me. And to be truthful, I've said this too many times, but I've always had a chip on my shoulder because I never got to play football the way I wanted to. And so that always just kind of fueled me. And like I think I did work out kind of angry, you know, with like a little bit something to prove. But another guy that I should give credit to is like Andrew Sendejo. He wasn't the strongest guy, but he was super strong, and he had a real similar mentality to me. Like, dude, there's nobody that was going to beat that guy in like a conditioning test on our team. Like, he was super fit, one of the hardest working, most consistent guys ever. So, but yeah. What about you, John?
Well, the other one I was just going to mention was, I'm sure you two guys remember the Hulk weightlifter. And so it was this Egyptian guy who used to come and train with me back at Cross and Metalize. And he was a junior world champion as a heavyweight. And I mean, he came in one day and he snatched 400 pounds and clean jerked 500 pounds. And
just on the same day?
On the same, because that's a weightlifter does both on the same day, and he would come when he trained with us. That was his big day, and just the way he, he was brought up the Egyptian Olympic system, and like basically treated like a professional athlete since he was like 10 years old, and just like for a guy so big to move so fast and well, and like. He used to easily power clean and push press 200 kilos. It was just the strength and just power was just different. And then, I know his personal best, he clean and jerked 255 kilos, which is 560 pounds. So like just, a freak of nature, just in a different world where I was like, okay, well that's just nothing to worry about because that's insane. So
yeah, some of these weightlifter guys are just, if you think you're strong, just go watch some good weightlifters, and it will pretty quickly put everything in perspective.
The ones that blow your mind are like the 80, 90 kilo guys that are, you know, they're snatching 180 kilos or 400 pounds and they're clean jerking 215, like numbers that just don't make sense.
That's wild. I saw this guy on Instagram on my feed, and he was just overhead pressing 315. I was like, what is this? Is this real? Like, you know what I mean? But you know what? I wanted to say this though. The thing that all these strong guys have in common is consistency, you know? And I'll tell you,
100%.
like, the reason why I came into Rice so strong was because my parents told me, well, you start to lose muscle after 3 days of not working out, you know? Like, they just told me that kind of offhandedly. And for some reason, I held on to that. You know, there's some things you just hold on to. I just held on to that in my head. And that's, and so, like, from basically the beginning of high school, I never went more than 3 days without working out. And that's the thing I see with anybody who's strong, with John, Taylor, Tanner, all these guys we're talking about, is they're just consistent, and then they let that compound over time. You know, and that's just basic strategy of how to get strong.
Yeah, Tanner.
I gotta, like, what kind of continues to motivate me and kind of drive me and like I don't know, my training or my behavior is like, I don't want to lose my strength. Like kind of what Scott was saying. It's like, I remember Yancey telling us that, Scott, that you will start to atrophy after 3 days of no training, no stimulus. But now that I'm 38, turning 39, you know, and we're all in our late 30s, I'm just like, damn, I want to still be able to do everything that I've always been able to do. And so, like, you know, the last 2 weeks I've power cleaned 275, which is, you know, not the heaviest, but it's respectable. But I don't want to be able to not do that. I don't want to be able to not squat 405. I don't want to be able to not bench, you know, 300 or at least something close to that. So like, that's kind of what motivates me now, is like almost like muscle and strength preservation. I might not hit my all-time PR numbers anymore. Maybe I'll hit a PR here or there if I really train for it. But it's like, now I'm like, dude, I'm freaking, you know, 39. I'm not in my prime anymore. 38, 39, I'm not my prime. But I can still be one of the fittest, strongest, leanest, jacked, most jacked 39-year-olds. And so that's kind of what goes on in my head now. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's what's so great about being around you guys and being in a program like this and what you've created, Tanner, is it's highly motivating to be around other guys who are trying to get better and get stronger. And whether we, like, iron sharpens iron, we're all making each other better, you know? Even the clients, like, I'll, in my head a little bit, I'm like competing, you know? I'm like, well, this guy's doing it, like I'm doing this too then, man, you know? Like, and that's what's so great about, again, that's what's so great about this program. And I really appreciate being part of it. Love being around you guys. You know, the y'all's strength and y'all's continued level of discipline is inspiring. So yeah, man, it's very motivating for me.
That, and you know, I got to make sure I show up to Mexico and be able to fucking move some weight.
yeah. I'm
All
excited
right.
about the trip, man.
Yeah. Well,
gotta talk
let's.
more about it.
We're going to get it out to our custom clients. It's coming basically tomorrow. We're gonna throw it out to you guys, and you're going to see it. But next thing, so we're going to get into after 30 minutes of talk, we're going to get into some client questions. So those have been submitted to us. So we're going to start with our guy Mark Deacon. He is a very strong man. And but he had the question. He says, I have had significant pain in my lower shoulder region whenever I do regular pull-ups. I would love some inputs and hear your thoughts on what can cause this. So when he says lower shoulder region, I assume he means lats. And I'm going to go ahead and say, Mark, probably you have some tight lats, and that would likely be my thought on that. But tough to say without seeing it and really knowing what exactly you mean by that. But anyone else?
Well, man. Oh, go ahead, Tanner. Go ahead.
I'm hoping that John is correct when he said lower shoulder. I thought lats too, because people they often kind of conflate that. And so what I would tell or what I would want to know from Mark, is it both sides? Is it, both sides? If it is, I can almost guarantee you that's a lat issue. And something that you might have to do is take a break from strict pull-ups or even lat pull-downs. And then that's actually kind of like a tendon area because that's kind of where it inserts. And so, Mark, this is just to give you some practical advice because I have a lot of experience about tendons. Um, and what you want to do is you want to strengthen the tendon and you underload and you need to kind of build that back up. So what you would actually do is probably get on like a lat pull down machine, but you'd be standing and you'd use like a light weight and you would do like a straight arm lat pull down and then like a slow negative up. And so basically it's like a straight arm pull down, which will really hit your lats and this insertion tendon right there. And if you strengthen that, you know, do that every other day, probably 3 sets of 15, or you could do something like it's like heavy eccentrics, where maybe you like pull it down and then kind of straighten your arms out and then do a slow eccentric on the way back up. That could probably help your lat insertions. I've had the same issue. And so that's what I did to kind of get over that. And eventually it just got better. Okay, so Mark, I hope that you're talking about your lower shoulder, kind of where your lat ties in, and I hope my advice applies to you. That's my answer.
Well, so that's a very good answer. We're kind of getting into PT territory now, but I'm going through this exact same thing. If it's what Tanner's talking about, I don't know if you guys remember. I was saying in my armpit, like right here, right? Well, dude, man, it freaking hurts. But ever since you guys, what was it, 2 weeks ago, we talked about doing dead hangs and just relaxing on the dead hang, doing it from pronated, supinated. That's helped a lot. That's helped me a lot. So I've been doing what Tanner's saying too with the straight arm pull downs and doing it eccentric. Don't do it with too much weight, Mark. We're not trying to like build muscle here. We're trying to just like strengthen, load the tendons, in a smart way. But yeah, those dead hangs, try that too, Mark. And then don't crank it. Don't crank it either. Like if you're gonna dead hang, don't do it for like 2 minutes straight, and don't do it if it's really hurting bad. Just be consistent with it, like what Tanner's saying. Do it 3 times a week. Be very consistent, and then kind of start to build up. Start to progress that as you go. But hang in there, man. It'll go away.
All right. Mark has a second question, and he just asked, at what point do you all decide it's time to join a new gym? Yeah, Tanner, go.
If you're the strongest guy in that gym, probably a good idea to join a new gym. If they have shitty weight plates or shitty bars, it's time to join a new gym. If they don't have lifting chalk, it's time to join a new gym. Or you just build your own gym at your house. Like, that's my honest advice. Like, I don't like going to most gyms, so that's why I don't even really train at public gyms anymore. Technically I do, but I train at 5:30 in the morning when no one's there, and I just train with my buddy Andrew, and we do it because no one's there. We can play the music we want, and we just get after it. We just do fucking bench press, squats, deadlifts, and snatches and cleans, and overhead press and pull-ups. It's literally all we do. So that's my answer for Mark.
Okay.
It's a pretty good answer.
Yeah. And I would agree. I mean, just like, because you get gyms where they don't allow chalk, they don't allow yelling, they don't allow noise, that stuff. Like, if it's not serving you, if it's not a place where, yeah, there are people around doing stuff like you, then go find a better one. They exist. You might have to pay more. You might have to pay for one of those specialty gyms or powerlifting gym or whatever it is. Get there and, surround yourself with, like Tanner said, strong people. It's going to make things better. Okay. This one, not really sure the name, Javier maybe, But he
I'll be
says,
there.
why leg days are short and focus only on target exercise like squat and deadlift, moving, hack squat, leg press, extensions, etc. Why are they short and focused? We're not doing hack squats and leg presses and extensions. Tanner.
I want you guys to answer that. I can
Value.
answer. You want me to,
Yeah,
you want me
I'll
to
answer.
answer it?
Value for time. Don't waste yourself on that bullshit and do real exercises and moving real weight. Anyone else?
There we go. That's the answer. Go ahead, Tanner.
That's it.
I'll just put it like this, okay? If you're a guy and you can squat 4 plates or you can squat over 4 plates, you can get on any leg press, any hack squat, any leg extension machine, and you can probably pretty much max it out. Like if you're strong with a barbell and free weights, using machines is a joke. It's literally a waste of time. And that's why when you look at D1 college football players or any high level athlete like a track and field, shot putter, thrower, none of those high level athletes are training with a hack squat or a Smith machine or a leg press because that shit does not actually make you strong. Yes, it might be better for hypertrophy, but not strength or function outside of the gym. And again, if you think about this just fundamentally, what is harder, doing a 405 back squat for 10 reps or sitting your fucking lazy ass down in a 45-degree leg press and just doing a leg press on a controlled track? Like leg press, hack squat, it's for lazy people. Okay? It's easy. And that's why you just need to get strong with the basics. That's my answer.
Yeah, if you have to lay down on your back, for your main movement pattern for the day, that's not a good sign, right?
What about the bench press?
Oh, okay.
Look, there's going to be an exception to those.
All right, moving on. Brian Offit, he says, I know everyone has one, so who is y'all's favorite bodybuilder and why? I'm going to go ahead and just say Arnold. He changed it. He made it more popular than anyone else has. He's the guy for me.
But who came before Arnold? Franco Columbu.
Okay.
Have y'all ever heard of him in the 70s?
Franco Columbo, yeah.
Dude, how much did he deadlift? Like he was to me, he was the guy that brought it before Arnold did. Of course, like Arnold's like who we all look up to. When I watched what's the
Pumping Iron.
Pumping Iron? When I watched Pumping Iron for the first time, man, it was like. But yeah, I figured you guys were gonna say Arnold, so I was just thinking Franco Columbus would be before him.
I've always thought it was a relatively weird sport, to be fair. Like I understand it, like making the human physiques like a piece of art and all of that, but if I had to choose one just from like the videos and the impressment, it would be Ronnie Coleman. But even still, like looking at all those dudes get up on stage, like you're looking at them, it's like, but you can't even like turn around and wipe your ass, or you can't even talk on the phone normally. Like, you got to reach across your face like this, and it's like you're not going to be able to maintain that as you get older, right? Because it's just way too much muscle mass. You're gonna have to eat and do all this other stuff. So I kind of found it, and still do find it, as a bit of a weird sport, because you are making something completely unsustainable and a bit unique in and of itself. But when you look at people move weight, like Ronnie Coleman, when he was like strict pressing like 150 kilo dumbbells and shit like that, like it's unbelievable how strong and big that dude was. But I just think it's a little bit weird.
You'll never think about lightweight baby, the same again, right?
Ain't nothing but a peanut.
Tanner?
Yeah, those are all great answers. Arnold's the icon. I think Franco Columbo's a good answer too. Like he was actually a strong guy, did strongman, and he was a boxer. So he was an actual athlete. And then, of course, Ronnie Coleman, he's probably the greatest bodybuilder ever, most decorated and hardworking, elite genetics. But my personal favorite is Dorian Yates. He was a 6-time Olympia winner. And the reason I like Dorian Yates so much was more so of his mindset and how just intelligent he was. Like the way he trained was completely different than Arnold or Ronnie. and again, I think it's all kind of, it doesn't matter when you're taking that amount of steroids. It doesn't really matter how you train. It really just comes down to consistency, um, and effort, and just putting in the work, and your genetics, obviously. But I really like Dorian Yates because he was completely self-taught, completely self-coached. He had the most discipline, and he was just very cerebral. And if you've ever listened to Dorian Yates talk, if you watched any of his content, he's just a really intelligent, well-spoken, articulate guy. And in his mindset was like, it's life or death. I'm all in. And there was no distractions with him. And like, he trained by himself in England when all the other big time bodybuilders in his era in the 90s, which was the peak of bodybuilding, was the 90s. That was when all the best bodybuilders were there. He won at the peak. He would literally locked himself away in a dungeon gym in the UK, and he would show up, not post anything, not show anything, and he would just show up to his bodybuilding competitions and beat everyone. And like I said, he didn't have a coach. He did it all himself. So I've always had a lot of respect for Dorian Yates. But I agree with Taylor. I think it's actually the sport in it of itself it makes no sense to me. Okay,
It's
so
quite odd.
but it's what's ironic is like bodybuilding is so much more popular than any other form of fitness. That's what the majority of people's attention is focused on, is purely aesthetics and bodybuilding. Like bodybuilding's so much more popular than whatever CrossFit, High Rocks, arguably MMA or other, domains of fitness. Bodybuilding still dominates. So that's why Ronnie Coleman and Arnold, are very famous people because of bodybuilding the sport. Anyways,
Okay. Okay. Um, our next question comes from Reese Taylor Round, and he says, "I'm seriously considering working out before work. Would set me up for success for the rest of the day and give me a no BS mindset. Curious, would you shorten or change the workouts at all if I did to fit around the work day and the early morning start?" Who wants to answer that? Tanner.
I'll answer it if no one else does. If I'm talking too much, you guys please just uh Reese, I highly support that decision. And all you got to do, man, is you just got to have the discipline to get your ass to bed an hour earlier. Okay. You can wake up an hour earlier and you can train. You can start your day off the best way possible and doing the hardest thing. Like, man, if you can start your day off doing heavy ass deep back squats or heavy deadlifts, that's a pretty guaranteed way that your day will not get any worse. And then everything else you do that day will probably be pretty easy. And if it, improves your overall compliance and consistency, I think it's great. Now, as far as shortening your workout, you could do that. Probably not necessary. If you just manage your time better, you could get the whole thing in. Okay. But if you had to do it, then just honestly do the first one or two exercises of your workout and, get out of the gym, but never ever skip the compounds, and really just manage your time better. Go to bed earlier, wake up earlier, get it done. That way, when you finish a long day of work, you don't have to drag yourself to the gym. You can just like go home and spend time with your family and relax. It's much better in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, if I would give Reese any bit of advice, it's just like have everything planned. It's sometimes after work, if you have a long time to work out, you can kind of do your warm up. Maybe you stop, you look at your phone. Like in the morning, it's like you're in. Your warm up's going to take you 7 minutes. After that, might have 20 minutes to do your squats, and then you have another 20 minutes to do two accessory movements, and then you've left 10 minutes for your cardio, and then you're out the door. So just have a plan. I always say have your bags packed the night before, and just like, so you wake up, what's happening. You're not rushing, there's no questions. Just you're on time, scheduled, boom. That's one of the biggest things. Reese also has the question: am I still a pencil neck if I'm back squatting 125 kilos, 275, benching 110 or 242 pounds, front squatting 80, and overhead pressing 60 or 133 with 14 unbroken pull-ups? He says, haha, I love this. I'm never going to stop. And then he said, I just want to say thank you to all of you. I really appreciate everything you've done for me. I've come a long way since I started, and I know a big part of that is because of the time, effort, and knowledge you've all put into coaching me. Forever grateful.
Well, thanks for saying that, Reese. But hey, you put in the hard work, man. You put in the hard work, and that kind of attitude is exactly what it takes. Keep showing up, never stop, keep pushing, man.
Yeah. Tanner?
Oh, I love Reese. Okay. When Reese came to me, honestly, he was a fat piece of, I won't say that, but he was just really overweight, weak as shit. Okay. And all his buddies were telling him to get on steroids, but he knew deep down inside he shouldn't do that. So I remember the first call we did together, and I'm just so thankful that he, listened, signed up for the coaching, because he's completely changed. And Reese's before and after transformation is the one that I show people all the time. So I'm very thankful to Reese for, following through, doing the work. And to answer your question specifically, Reese, the only thing you're still a pencil neck in is your squat. Once you can back squat, 140, then you're no longer a pencil neck. All your other lifts, you got to get to a 180 kg deadlift and a 140 squat, and then you're a lifter. Like on your upper body, you're already hit those numbers. You need to get 15 unbroken strict pull-ups. Continue to build up your squat and your deadlift, and you'll never be a pencil neck again. Okay, bro, you're doing great. I'm really proud of you.
Well, and he's had back issues. He's kind of coming back, building that squat again. He's been very consistent there, so yeah, it'll get there. It'll get there. Keep working.
Our next question, this one's, I'll be curious on everyone's thought on this one, because Caleb Curry, captain of the fire station, he says, when squatting, all types, where should you be looking? Straight ahead or looking up, for example? So when you're squatting, where should you look? Taylor, where would you look?
I like to see the position of the neck over where the gaze is, but typically I'll tell people to look about 2 to 3 meters out in front of them. But the main thing is that I don't want to see the neck crooked back super high and overextended. I just want to see a neutral spine, and to do that I say gaze about 3 meters out in front of you. But yeah, look wherever you need to get your neck in the right spot.
But so when you say are you saying straight ahead, or are you saying 2-3 meters down, up, or
down on the ground in front of you, 3 meters in front?
Got it. Scott?
Yeah, well, first off, don't do it in front of a mirror. That always messes me up. Don't do it in front of a mirror. And then I'll just look just slightly above where my head's at. Pick a point on the wall, kind of just a little slightly higher than where my head is and the wall in front of me. And then stick to that point the whole time. Don't break contact.
Okay. Tanner, what about you?
Same answers.
Yeah. Scott, so where I train now, there is, if one squat rack's taken, the other one has a mirror in front of it and drives me nuts. And I have to specifically look way up, because usually I'm just straight ahead. Basically my eyes just follow where my height is. So mirrors, I don't think, for compound lifts, I don't think they do good things, because you see one side go down and then you try to and it's just, you need to feel it as opposed to looking at a mirror. Things like, I think dumbbell stuff, a mirror can be really effective. Tanner?
Yeah, that's one. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. I enjoy doing clean and jerks and snatches in a mirror. Okay, just because I can see my technique and I feel like I actually am better. And it's a weird thing. And I don't even mind squatting with a mirror either. So I think it's maybe it's personal preference, and I'm not trying to be a narcissist or anything, but I actually like the mirror, because if I'm doing a squat and I can see where my elbows are, maybe I have a tendency to drop my left elbow down, or I can see maybe one of my knees caving in, or I can look at my stance, my hips might be shifting. And so that's when I actually get value out of a mirror, just to kind of improve my own technique. Not to just look at myself and be like, oh, I'm so strong. That point, it can kind of be distracting. But I don't know. I'm good either with or without a mirror. but I do find sometimes I get value out of using a mirror just to make sure, my form is where it needs to be. So I think it's personal preference, in my opinion.
See,
Yeah,
and
but
oh, sorry, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, like, if you're looking, like, for squats, for example, if I'm watching myself and I'm then I start to overcorrect, exactly what John's saying. It's like, oh, is my hip am I kind of shifting into this right hip? And then, it just takes away from that. It takes a lot of, like, neural energy to lift weights, So, like, when you're thinking too much, that's never a good thing. Think about with athletes, if you're thinking on the field, that's not a good result. So, like, I feel like with the mirror, when you're lifting in front of a mirror, you're just thinking too much. It kind of takes away from the lift, personally.
And just to add really quick, I mean, if you're one of our custom clients, then we ask you to film your lifts, but that's not just for us, but for you too, because filming your lifts and then getting the feedback from there, you can slow it down and all those sort of things. Really good for feedback and that sort of thing as well.
Great point.
Okay. This one is this is from Jason Lesh, and Tanner, we're going to have you answer, but he says new clinical reviews suggest prolonged nicotine pouch use may be associated with measurable reductions in penile blood flow, with researchers warning chronic users could experience penile shrinkage exceeding 3.67 inches in some cases. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I'd be curious to actually read the study and the validity of it and who paid for the study and if they're pushing any products about that. I would also be much more concerned about that. In actually, what you need to understand just about nicotine and caffeine, those are vasoconstrictors. So I'm sure you could probably you could make up a whole new study and say, all right, every guy that drinks 3 cups of coffee a day, he's going to have, reduced penile size too, because, there's less blood flow to it. Okay. So that could literally apply to anything. Okay. I've been using nicotine for probably consistently 2 years. And
Here it
I have
comes.
Scott. Yeah, I have Scott and Andrew to thank for that. But dude, I have no issues with nicotine. And I can look just at my vascularity, like in my arms, and I can
Okay.
see I have great circulation. I have what matters in order for circulation and whatever penile size or whatever is actually your overall body composition. It's not whether or not you use nicotine or you take caffeine or if you're using vasoconstrictors or vasodilators. It's your metabolic health. And so I'm not trying to go off on a whirl or a tangent, but they say, and this is true, that your ability to get an erection as a man is a really good indicator of your overall heart health. So oftentimes men that are overweight, metabolically unhealthy, they don't have the ability to get or maintain an erection. And that should be a red flag to your heart health. And if you just think about that, dude, an undermuscled, overfat guy who's just unfit, out of shape, and just unhealthy, of course he's not going to be able to maintain a good, strong erection, and he probably won't have much, just going on down there. I don't think you can attribute that solely to nicotine. And of all my time using nicotine, I haven't noticed a difference in anything, with whatever, my penile size, whatever. Okay. I'm trying to say that whatever is politically correct as I can. So I don't believe that. Those are my sentiments.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I'm not going to defend nicotine, but I'll just say it's really important to look at these studies. It's important to always look at these studies because you can take you can kind of context is very important. So, like, as I love studies and what they say, but it's also important to understand how to read studies and then take away what's actually true from these studies. You know.
Sounds like you all went to college. And Tanner, thank you for not whipping out to prove your point. Okay, so our next two questions are kind of, I'm going to read both of them because they're related. But This one comes from Anwar. I just did my consult call with him yesterday, but he says, "Hello, I've recently joined TrueStrength and I'm excited to get truly strong. I had heavy lifting sessions 2 days ago and I'm still quite sore. What are excellent habits or methods to improve my recovery so I can conquer each lift, run, and challenge opportunity life provides?" The second question comes from Dan Poinatowski, and he says, "What's the best way to address soreness through nutrition? I do feel soreness resolve faster with the boost of calories, especially carbs. Wondering if anyone else experiences that." So these two questions are basically asking, what can I do to help myself recover better and faster? Who wants to start? Scott?
Well, I was just going to say, so, this is something we get this question a lot. And I say it like this, like, sleep is going to account for getting better sleep, even an hour more of sleep than if you're underslept is going to be significant in helping you recover and get you ready for the workouts, man. And then like all these other things like cold plunges and red light stuff and whatever else, man, at the end of the day that accounts for like 5% of a difference. Sleep is like 80% of it. Just I would say really focus on that. Get your sleep. And then the second one is make sure you're eating enough protein. And we've talked about that on all of our consultations with every single client. You have to focus. It's hard to do. It's hard to do. And it comes unnaturally for most people. So get enough sleep, eat enough protein.
Taylor, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, what's gonna heal the body, right, is blood. So the worst thing you can do is do nothing if you're sore, right? You need to move. You need to get blood flowing through your body because that's what's gonna remove waste and restore nutrients back to your muscles. And in that same vein, like carbohydrates are useful for recovery more so after long duration endurance exercises. When you're talking about hard muscle tissue breakdown and lifting sessions, protein is what you need for your muscles to rebuild and recover. Carbs might give you some energy to help you kind of get after that, but when you're talking about physiological recovery, you have to have protein, man. Okay? Carbs aren't going to do that for you. So make sure, like you say, you recover, you sleep, you move, and you get enough protein.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And what's the old adage is you're not under recover, you're underfed. So Tanner?
Yeah, I just want to answer this question specifically for Anwar. And Jason Poniatowski, right?
Dan.
Sorry, Dan Poniatowski. Forgive me. Anwar, just understand when you're new to this, you're going to be very sore because I guarantee you've been grossly underexposed to proper training and you have not done nearly enough squats, deadlifts, presses, rows, pull-ups. And so we're going to get you doing those way more than you ever have. And you're just going to be sore, but your body will adapt. So you're going to be totally fine. Okay. And then to answer Dan's question specifically, yeah, taking, a lot of carbs might make you feel better about, your recovery. But what Taylor and Scott said is spot on. Like, dude, when you tear down your muscle, which is what you do through strength training, you need to repair that muscle by eating muscle. Okay. And so the thing that I've always done for the past, 15 years, anytime I do heavy squats, heavy deadlifts, or any kind of hard strength training, I just eat a big ass steak that night. I make it a point to eat a big piece of red meat and eggs and milk or dairy. And whether it's anecdotal or subjective, I feel like I recover better. But I think I do recover better because meat, eggs, dairy, those have the highest quality amino acids in them that would help you repair, your body from hard training. So, Dan, eat more high quality protein, mainly animal foods, and you will never go wrong doing that. That's my answer.
Okay. Yep, I agree with that. Anwar has another question that we'll touch on quick. But as someone on the path of true strength, how can I best balance my heavy lifts and conditioning with sports and recreation? He plays soccer and basketball several times a week, and both are very important to him. Thank you. So, with the program, then you're also going to do some soccer and basketball. What would you guys recommend? Go ahead, Tanner.
I would just understand that you're going to be really weak because you've been grossly underexposed to strength training. Prioritize the strength training. You can probably do a 3-day full body split and then play your sports on the days that you're not going to the gym. That'd be the best way to balance it, at least your schedule wise. And just understand you're going to be really sore for probably the next 3 to 4 weeks while your body's adapting to this new style of training. Deal with it. And also understand once you get stronger, you are going to be so much better at basketball or soccer or pickleball or whatever it is. So embrace the strength training. If you feel sore playing basketball because you worked out the day before, deal with it. Just know you're actually doing what's best for you. Okay, getting stronger is the single greatest thing you can do, and it will literally improve virtually every aspect of your life. That's my answer.
Anyone else? My advice, Anwar, is, this happened to me when I was living here, 10-ish years ago, where, I lifted a lot, very seriously, and then I started playing ice hockey, which I hadn't done for years. And those first couple weeks, I was so brutally sore and beat up from doing way too much. But eventually, the body's incredible, and eventually I adapted. My hockey legs, as we say, came back, and I was able to squat and play hockey and do everything. And it took some time, but, the body does adapt to this stuff. So, just focus on the training, get the nutrition in, and then just, you'll adapt. Okay. We got a couple more questions and we're going to wrap this thing up, coming up to the 1 hour point. But David Lazenby says, I've been working 14-hour days, 7 days a week for the last couple of weeks, hard labor, not enough time or energy to get workouts in. I have some, but would love to hear your thoughts on keeping the right mindset and attitude during and getting back to your routine. Who wants to go? Tanner.
I'll make it quick. David, I got your message on school. I appreciate you letting us know. David lives in Alaska and he does like construction work and it's hard manual labor. David, the best advice I can give you, man, even if you're working 14-hour days, 7 days a week, dude, if you have a barbell nearby, then I don't care how you feel, how tired you are, wake up 30 minutes earlier and 45 minutes earlier and get in 3 to 5 sets of squats or deadlifts, do some strict push-ups or some strict pull-ups. That you can literally do that in 15, 20 minutes. Okay. And if you don't do it, it's because you're making an excuse. You're talking yourself out of it. I don't care, again, how tired or how much you've been working. You have time. You just have to make the time. And if you're going to do anything, just do what offers you, the most value, which is going to be the squat, the deadlift, a strict push-up, an overhead press, a strict pull-up. And just do one thing a day. If you just do 3 sets of squats and that's all you do for your workout and it takes you 15 minutes, man, that's a win. Check the box and then go to work. Don't make excuses. That's my advice.
I like that. Well said.
Yeah. And David, I got your message on school as well. So thank you. I mean, and, I think we've come across this question a few times, and it's just like exactly what Tanner said. Just like, raise your standard and just, hey, you're going to do it, even if it is just, you put in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just get something in and just, just keep going with it. And then when you do come back, you'll be all right. Okay, our last question here. This comes from Jill Marchand. And Jill asks, what is the training progression method you follow in your programming approach, and what books or other professionals influence this model? What books or professionals have had the most influence on your training career and your own personal training? Taylor, I'll get you to start.
Well, given that the program is basically the brainchild of Tanner, I won't try to speak for him, but I can talk about me personally. Jim Wendler, who wrote the Wendler 531, has been the biggest influence on my strength journey. by far. And then on top of that, probably the Everett brothers, Josh Everett and stuff, when they talk about catalyst athletics and Olympic training cycles and stuff like that, those for sure have been the two biggest impacts on me.
Okay. Scott?
You know, I was gonna say Windler as well. You know, but when you're talking about like real influences, like people who influence me, and I'm sure Tanner will say the same thing, but our college strength coach who, he's going, I think he's battling cancer right now, so prayers go out to him. But Yancey McKnight, man, so his programming, the way he incorporated waves, the attitude, the discipline, the intensity he brought into his programming was incredible to see and be a part of that. So that has influenced me the most out of anything, even going through the NFL and training at these, you know, nice, expensive facilities. Nobody's influenced me more than Yancey McKnight.
Yeah. And you know what I'll say is, and you know, I know because Tanner has taken some of the stuff I've done, but you know, a lot of my stuff came from Chad Wesley Smith and a guy named Max Ida. They're from Juggernaut Training, and that's who I trained under years ago. And I think, you know, some of that might have a trickle down into our current program. But you know, a lot of periodization and kind of cycles and stuff I picked up from them for sure. So really excellent strength coaches.
Can I just add that John is an incredible programmer, incredible, man. So a lot of the back end stuff here with TrueStrength, you know, John's a big part of that, and I see that. I just want to acknowledge that, man.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, to answer Jill's question, like the longer I've been in this, I realize pretty much everything works. And I think Mark Ripito might have inspired me the most, not from doing starting strength or his novice linear progression of doing 3 sets of 5 or adding 5 pounds of workout. Yes, that absolutely works until it doesn't. And you'll always fail. And so, but what I've realized is like, I've just come to that fundamental understanding that all we are is just living organisms. Okay. We're animals, and we're simply responding to the stress and stimulus that we expose our organism to. And whether that's going to be Louis Simmons Westside Barbell, Jim Wendler 531, starting strength 5x5, it could be doing cluster training, it could be double progression, it could be waves. It's all the same fucking shit. It's literally just, how can I apply more stress to my organism and be able to recover from that? Okay. And then you just have to realize, if you're doing this naturally, you have a finite amount of recoverability. And what you have to do the longer you do it is you just have to become more and more disciplined, you know, with your training, with your recovery, with your nutrition. And then you got to realize that you're probably just going to reach your natural genetic potential, your ceiling. Pretty sure I reached that probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And I've just been basically trying to stay as close to that ceiling as I can. Okay. All this shit works. There's no one way that's better than the other. I guarantee some guy could get stronger doing 3 sets of 5, adding 5 pounds of workout, than another guy doing the most complicated West Side, you know, 10 sets of 2, max effort day, dynamic effort day. What really matters is kind of what Scott said, is your mindset going into the gym. It all fucking works. As long as you're using progressive overload, gradually increasing weight or reps over time, you're going to get stronger, because the human organism is going to respond to whatever stress and stimulus that you expose it to. There's no one way that's better than the other. It's how consistent you are over time and how you go into the gym and you approach your training and your mindset. Like, that's my answer. And that's all TrueStrength is. Like, it's basically an amalgamation of all the training cycles that I put myself through, which ones I like the most. And that's what we give our clients. Okay. It's not one way. It's not Wendler. It's not starting strength. It's not West Side. It's just like, all right, this fucking strength cycle works. I like it. I don't know who made it, but I'm taking it and I'm gonna put myself through it first to make sure it works. And then if it works, I'm gonna apply it to my clients who it's appropriate for. That's my answer. So Jill, I hope that gives you a better answer. Jill, you are a really special individual, and you train really hard. You care about this a lot. And like I said, it doesn't matter what you do. It's just what matters is how you do it and how you speak to yourself and your consistency, your discipline, your compliance over the long period of time.
Yeah, I had a check-in call with her, and she's a stud, man. Right? You can't fault her for her effort or her desire or her attention to it, man. She gets after it. So yeah.
Yeah, she does.
But
she needs a little bit more recovery. Right? Like, that's what I
Yeah,
was
and
telling
she needs to eat more food,
Eat more
Jill.
food, yeah. Protein specifically.
And that is something I'll say to anyone, like the stuff we do program for all of our clients. I know I've done it before, or I've done I'm not going to give them something I wouldn't do. And I think we can all say that, right?
Yeah,
definitely.
We've done it, and if we haven't, then we're not putting it in, straight up.
Yeah. Yep.
In fact, I make sure, like, if I see something that you guys have programmed, I'm like, I'm gonna try this shit. I'm gonna try this shit. Hey, and I just want to add this one thing before we wrap. But so Mike Martin, I was talking about him earlier. The guy in the Titans,
guy from
300
Michigan.
pounds. Yeah, Michigan, 300 pounds, 6-pack. I just looked up his numbers. 505 bench, 700-pound squat, 430-pound power clean, 475 hang clean, 36 reps at the combine. But dude, this guy was an animal. I'm telling y'all.
Dude,
Did you say a 475 hang clean?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And
That's
natural.
crazy.
That's the crazy part. Is like this. I know that he was natural because we're getting tested, every day.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, like the guys at D1 are going to the NFL. They're fucking freaks. And Scott, dude, you're a freak, bro. Your numbers were not far off from that guy at all. You were like right there. Okay, so it's like, man, genetics play a role. Your mindset, your consistency, your discipline is a factor. So, I don't know. Like, if I really wanted to get strong, if I really wanted to get stronger, I would probably just have to start taking some kind of steroids. That'd be like the only thing I could do that I haven't tried, So,
Well, no, you're still.
I'm not
getting
advocating you do
stronger,
that.
bro. You're still getting stronger through natural progression, right?
Yeah,
and,
a little bit.
And you've had a surgery or two that maybe has held you back a touch.
Yeah. But I like to think it
You've gotten a lot
hasn't.
stronger on bench, bro. And plus, you just had a baby. You have to have realistic expectations, man. You're getting.
I
less
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You'll be all right.
yeah, I'm good with it. Like I said, man, I want my training now is just to I want to stay as strong as I can, preserve it, and just maintain some kind of semblance of athleticism as I continue to age. What I think about now a lot of times. Okay, maybe you guys can relate to this. Could you carry your wife and your kids out of a 3-story building that was on fire?
Yeah.
Could you do that?
Yes.
Okay.
At once?
All right. Most men couldn't do that, or they couldn't carry an overweight person. They couldn't carry a person that weighed 250 pounds, out of a burning building. I know for a fact I could. Okay.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to do leg press or hack squats. It's just
Fucking
not
A.
functional.
Yeah, it's true. It's fucking true, Scott. Well said.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate your time in the pod. We're going to be back in a week's time. Coach Taylor, enjoy your birthday. Enjoy the ski hill.
Thank you, sir.
Happy birthday, man.
And everyone, appreciate you guys.
Appreciate
Take
everybody.
care, everyone. Thank you for
Thanks.
Yeah,
listening.
good call, John. Y'all have a good one.